Daf Samach Vav Amid Beis. So Abai is going to say, B'mashu, we have here a case of min b'mino, when wine falls into vinegar. Why? Reicha chala v'taima chamra chala. That apparently the aroma of both vinegar and wine is identical. And therefore, havile min b'mino. Because according to Abaye, what's koveh the min is the reicha. B'chol min b'mino b'mashu. Rav Hamar ben Osein Tam reicha chala v'taima chamra chama. The smell is that of vinegar. The taste is that of wine. We consider it wine, and therefore havile min b'sheino mino. Because once you define it as wine, then wine mixed with vinegar is min b'sheino mino, and it's batel b'tam. Called min b'sheino mino no Saint Tam. Okay. Now, in what context did Abaye originally formulate his ruling that the Torah considers its smell, the aroma? So that was Hai Bei Bas Tia. Now, Bas Tia is some sort of a straw that allows you to smell through this straw what's going on inside the food that's inside this cask. So Bas Tia is a hole made in the stopper of a wine barrel through which one smells the wine. So somehow in the stopper, they drill a hole and it's large enough for the smell to come out. And they want to ascertain its quality and ability, how long of a shelf life it has. Ovei kuchavim b'Yisrael shaper dami Yisrael, but ovei kuchavim Abai Amar us. So we'll get to Rav in a second. So Abai says the following: if we have kosher wine and the akum wants to smell the kosher wine through this bas tia, that's fine. But if a Jew wants to enjoy the smell of the wine of an idol worshiper through this bas tia, Abai says it's also. Why? Because reicha milsa. Abai holds that reach is something which the Torah considers very significantly. But Rav Hamar muta. Abai Amar also reicha milsa. Rav Hamar muta reicha lav milsa. Amar Rava mino aminile to reicha lav klumhu. How do I derive this conclusion from whence that the aroma has nothing to do with isa v'heta? It's irrelevant. It's not. We learned in a Mishnah, and this is a Mishnah in Trumas. Tanur shisiko bekamon. Kamon is very similar in our English. It's cumin. So he used cumin as fuel to fire up his oven. But the problem is that this kamon that he used as fuel is truma. And now the question is, ofabos hapas, can a non-Kohen eat from that pas, the fuel of which was truma, that heated up the oven in which the bread was baked? And the Mishnah says, hapas muteris, meaning even though I'm not a Kohen, I'm allowed to eat it. Lefisha ein tam kamon ela reicha kamon. In other words, if you bake a bread and you used cumin as your fuel to fire up the oven, then it has no impact on the bread itself. So the tam is the tam of bread, not the tam of cumin, even though the smell might be the smell of cumin. So we see that smell is lab milsi. It doesn't register. It's not relevant. And that's why the Mishnah says that if there's no time of the truma, then you're even a non-Kohen is allowed to eat. Abaye. Why is Abaye, satisfied with the fact that hapas muteres? Shani hasam the mikle surah. You have no proof from there. That's not really a tarovis at all. And forget about the recha, because at the moment that this fuel burns up, it's non-existent. And therefore it has no power to generate Isa. Amar Rav Mori, Ketanoi. Maybe this issue depends upon a machlokes Tanoi. And now the Gemara quotes a Mishnah in Trumas. Roda means when you remove the whole profession here, to remove the dough from the oven. Paschama, and the bread is very hot, straight gebacht, from the oven. I don't know why he did this thing, but he put the fresh bread, the warm bread, on top of a cask of truma. So the aroma from the truma is going up to the pas that's on top of this cask. And a non-Kohen is not allowed to eat truma. Is Reb Meir Omer Asur. A non-Kohen is not allowed to eat this bread because the bread has the aroma of truma. Rabbi Yehuda Matir. Rabbi Yossi is a little bit down the middle over here. Matir b'shal chita v'Yossi b'shal siorim. Mipnei shasaorim shavos. So apparently, when you make a bread out of wheat, it's a little softer than a bread that's made out of barley, which is more hard. And therefore, according to Rabbi Yossi, one second. Barley bread draws the aroma, and therefore it's us. But again, whether it's Rabbi Meir or Rabbi Yossi, everybody agrees in that, pair of Tanoim, that it all depends on Recha, on the aroma. But Rabbi Yossi was Matir, straight across the board. My labah kamifli. Mar Savar Recha Milsahi, according to Rabbi Meir, and I would add here even Rabbi Yossi, the Torah considers Reach to be like a mamoshistik, like a chefta disura. Umar Savar, but if you're talking about Rabbi Yehuda, is Recha v'lo klum, the Torah doesn't recognize the significance of the aroma. So we'll finish it up. L'Rava Vadai Tanoi. Rava has no choice but to concede that Rabbi Meir is against his shita, because Rabbi Meir is clearly based on the fact that the bread absorbed the smell from the truma and Recha Milsa, and that's against Rava. But Abai milema de Tanoi, can Abai work out and reconcile his shita that Recha Milsa, even with Rabbi Yehuda, says that the bread is mutter for non-Kohanim? This is what I call a double negative. Two strikes against you. The pas is straight out of the oven. It's warm. It absorbs the smell. And he put it on top of an open cask of wine. So it's certainly going to absorb the aroma of that wine. And that wine is truma. Let's not forget. And here we turn to Daf. Samach Zayin, Diriakol Asura. Bipaso Nenis V'Chavis Bigufa. In the exact opposite case, where the chavis is all closed up, sealed, completely magufa, plastered up. And the bread that he put on top of it is cold bread. Cold bread is not going to absorb the aroma. Lo nechelko v'pas chama v'chavas megufa, pas tzonenis v'chavas psucha, where there's one negative and not two. Either the one negative is that's pas chama, or it's one negative that's chavas psucha. And now Abai says that my case with the bastia is kipas chama v'chavas psucha dami, and therefore my case is undebatable and universally accepted that if we compare it to a pas chama and a chavas psucha, it's got two negatives, and therefore for sure there's going to be an absorption of the aroma, and that's forbidden. And that's what Abai was saying about bastia. If you remember when he, puts his straw into the hole of the stopper and he smells the smell of yayin nesach, and that's also because of Isuri Hanoah and Reicha Milsa, according to Abai. Okay, then this is where we'll stop for today.
Shkoyach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a
Take
great
care.
and
You too.